Good morning and welcome to this week's installment of Mindful Mornings with Dr. Matt. And today I'm very pleased to introduce a special guest, somebody who I met in 2023, who I highly look up to, admire, and honestly see as a personal role model here, Dr. Rita Rios. Really, I can go on and on about all the amazing things that Dr. Rita Rios does. She's a doctor of naturopathic medicine, a holistic endocrine educator, experienced chief executive officer with a demonstrated history of working in the medical industry, skilled in sales, leadership, marketing, public speaking, and social media marketing, has a strong business developmental approach. Graduate of Loyola Stritch of Medicine, University of Chicago, is also involved with the Department of Veteran Affairs. He's a clinical administrator, medical spa owner, Brazilian Spa Suites, licensed medical esthetician, motivational speaker, business developer, model and actress, and the list goes on and on and on. We have the cryo doctor herself here, Dr. Rita Rios. It's a pleasure introducing you here to everybody. Did I miss anything there?
No, thank you, Matt, for inviting me. Thank you, Dr. Matt. I think you covered all the bases. That's so funny. I kind of just added on each link in LinkedIn and all of the bio, so it sounds like I'm boasting, but yeah, no, I'm very grateful to be here and be on an interview with you. So yes,
Absolutely.
you,
And there's certainly no boasting there because you're somebody who just continually puts it out there. You're always giving back to the community. As I said, you're somebody I look up to as a role model. I know many others do as well. But you're no stranger to adversity, and I think that that's particularly something that stands out to me. And so many people go through different hardships, and in your situation here, which we're going to talk about, is particularly difficult, yet still you ended up rising above and are doing so many amazing things out there helping the community. And it's just, where's the list at? I think I only mentioned a few things that you actually do out there.
no, thank you. I try to stay busy. I think that's part of my journey and just my overall just being active and having something to always do, to hold myself accountable, which we can get into like the actual story of like how it all started and where I am now, where I was before. I'm just grateful to, be here, be alive, be active, be able to help other people. Um, so yeah, that's my goal, that's my plan, that's my assignment here on this earth. Now I'm aware of what my purpose is. So yes, I'm excited.
Hey, when you find your meaning and purpose in life, it's
Yes.
a very exciting experience. And though you do experience stress just like anybody else, when you're living a life, servant leadership, taking care of other people, it truly is as fulfilling as it gets. And another thing I truly admire about you is just how driven of an individual you are. When you find different opportunities, you jump on top of them, but you also do so to success. And really, your story is as impeccable as any other I've ever heard. And I do want everybody to, recognize that here as we continue to move forward as you're sharing.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. I definitely turned, tragic to triumph or how they usually say it, but I never would have imagined that all of it would have led to this. There was a lot of different just hardships that I experienced that I look back now and I ask myself, would I want to have experienced those things that were horrific in my life to get the blessings that I have today? And I probably would say yes, because it all led to where I am now. I just feel like if you just sit still and just listen, you'll receive the assignment and everything, the assignment and the instructions of your next step in life. So, yeah, it's just crazy how it all got started. So,
Well, absolutely. And, we have some of those sayings out there, Kelly Clarkson, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And, one of the things I think people really do need to recognize is that when bad things happen to us in life, we have choices to make. Some individuals do live by the thought that, okay, what happened to me ultimately defines me. I am my trauma. I am this mental health disorder. I am whatever bad thing had happened to the individual. However, the truth is, it's not so much what happened to you that defines you, It's what you choose to do with it. And all of this is an active type of process. When people go through difficult times, you have a choice. You could dwell on it, ruminate, have those intrusive thoughts, allow it to keep you stuck, or you can learn from it. You could persevere, you can push through, and you could do that work. Choose not to be a victim, choose to be somebody who's going to rise above, somebody who's going to ultimately become a warrior. And that's the type of individual that you are, Dr. Rita. And one of the things I truly admire about you above all else, it's not that anything in life was handed to you. And, despite having the different hardships, you buckled down, you processed, reflected, felt the feels, so to speak, and really took your time sitting in it, but ultimately decided, I'm going to use this to make me stronger. And not only am I going to make myself stronger, but also I'm going to carry along everybody else with me. And this is how we ultimately see you here today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That is indeed kind of what I choose and how I choose to live it. Um, I can just like get into the story of really, the meat and potatoes, they say, of it. I definitely seem super successful now and got it all together, but there was definitely a path of just obstacles along the way. I started working with the VA in 2000. Um, that's like, this is 2024. So I'm only really 18. No, just kidding. Um, I started in 2000, but started off as a cardiac cath technician working in the emergency room, just doing EKGs, no training, just stumbled upon it. I had already graduated high school when I was 15, going on 16, got a bachelor's in advertising, illustration, and design, realized that starving artists don't get paid, and my mom made sure that I got a good government job. That's how I ended up with the VA. And they also had a program for medicine that they would pay for called Van Eep. And I was in that program, and they were able to help me attend medical school and just, choose my career and the subspecialty that I wanted. And that was great. But every time I was getting ready to complete that task, I would just have, another child and another child. So I have 4 children, single mother of 4. My oldest is 28. He's going to be 29. I have twins. They're going to be 20 this year, and my youngest is going to be 15 this year. So everyone's getting out of the way. So I'm super excited about that. However, I was in the middle of pretty much finishing my program at the VA, and in 2010, I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer, and that's where everything changed as far as schooling and anything that was outside of my children and just living. I had no interest at all, and it seemed like everything was put on hold. Even just the will to do a business or work with people or go anywhere. I only cared about living and just taking care of my kids. So fast forward to 2024, with the diagnosis, I didn't let it take over. I definitely was blessed to still be here, but I did agree to the chemotherapy. I did agree to the radiation. I did agree to reconstruction and double mastectomy to, approve the odds of still being here and being able to survive later on down the line, because I had one of the most aggressive breast cancers. And after all those treatments, I felt kind of defeated. I didn't feel as attractive, and I kind of threw myself just into the VA. And as time went by, I just worked for the VA, collecting my check and not really thinking about entrepreneur things. When I look back now, like I could have been a millionaire by now. So luckily, who knew that going through chemotherapy, of course, you lose all your hair, your eyelashes, any hair or any cell rejuvenation of any type of hair, eyebrows, hair on your arms, every part of your body. But it affected me the most because I had like beautiful wavy hair. I had long eyelashes, and I became obsessed with eyelashes. I feel like when you don't have them, you have this, like, we call it naked mole rat look. So I end up talking to individuals who could give me advice on how to just maybe put false eyelashes on. So my hairdresser at the time was helping me with my chemotherapy, and my chemotherapy hairstyles, where I was completely bald, He would make wigs for me, and he was like, "Hey, I have a cousin. She can do your lashes." So she showed me how to do the lashes. She put them on me, and it just gave me this breath of fresh air. And I was able to not feel like I was a victim of cancer, like you couldn't tell. I just felt normal again. Um, what's that? I don't know if I felt like I was camouflaging it, but it gave me that sense of like I felt restored, or my lashes were back, my hair was back. And so I decided then to help other women. So I partner with Northwestern and Latisse, which was this eyelash serum to grow your lashes during chemotherapy. Because a lot of times when you're going through chemotherapy, even if you have eyelashes, you're going to lose them every 2 weeks. There's nothing for the actual strip to adhere to. But with this new proving formula for the eyelashes, there was a company called Latisse, and Latisse was a serum that you could put on, and it would give you lashes in what we call the anagen stage, where you're able to possibly sit an eyelash on top of these little tiny lashes, but it still gave you the illusion of not looking sick or looking as if you were going through chemotherapy or had cancer. So I did that for the longest for all the patients. I worked with several makeup companies to help cancer survivors, feel restored and want to be a part of just looking like feminine again and not feeling unattractive. So did that for the longest, but then I became really good at it. And people were like, "Hey, I know you did my lashes because I have cancer, but my mom was wondering, can you do her lashes?" And then so on and so on. So I started doing everyone's lashes. I do all the cancer patients pro bono, like completely free, and then their family. And after a while, I started to have a clientele that was too much to handle. I had to get a brick and mortar in Burr Ridge to, do the physical lashes. Then more customers kept coming, and then I had 3 locations or 3 suites inside of this Burr Ridge location. And I decided then to get my own location. And now that's how I end up in Bolingbrook with the Brazilian Spa Suites, where I also do the lashes. That's just like the beginning of how it all started, but it brought me into the aesthetics part of it, and realizing that how important it is for women to look good, to feel good. And actually the cancer makeup program is look good, feel good, and I was a part of that. And I guess women really listened to me because I actually went through all of the hardships and all of the different, chemo and radiation and all of the different things that affect the women as we go through cancer treatment. So I was able to build a huge audience. And yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at with it now. So yeah.
I really appreciate you sharing that story with everybody, Dr. Rita, because that's truly a story that's worth being heard by others. And we talk a lot, even before we started this podcast here, talking about the mind, body, spirit connection. Everything is interrelated. When you are going through something traumatic experience, having a cancer diagnosis, and again, we're so fortunate to still have you here today. Not only physically are you feeling worn out, it's like the rug is ripped out from underneath you. There's a lot of unknowns in the future, but even beyond physically feeling bad, you have the worry, what is going to happen? What is ultimately going to be my fate of all of this? And there's also, the part of presentation, wanting to look good. And as you said, some of these things we take for granted, such as having eyelashes, having hair, and so on, really that stands out a lot more as you're going through that experience. One of the things that we do as mental health professionals as well, we'll tell clients who are struggling, whether that is depression, anxiety, something like that, put yourself together as you present to the world. Having yourself together, you can ultimately start to feel a lot better, almost that fake it till you make it type of thing. But even I could say on this end too, if I'm having a bad day, I almost go out my way to present even better, because you carry yourself a little bit higher. People see you differently. They're smiling at you, you're smiling at them, and so on. But what's truly amazing, above all with this story, and what I think makes it even even more unique is here you are in a situation where you are the patient, you're going through the radiation, you're going through the chemo, you figure this out, to be able to have these lashes. And during that time, you're helping other people. And not only are you helping other people with the diagnosis, but their family members, and you're continuing to give back. Ultimately, this did lead into an entrepreneurial adventure for you. However, again, in that moment, you're just helping so many people, but also receiving some of that back yourself. So it all came full circle.
Definitely, definitely. That's exactly what happened. I almost, I wish that it did not happen, but it definitely happened for a reason because we're always questioning why did this happen to me? I was in the midst of my career and I felt like it held me back for so long. But what it did is it positioned me to prosper now where I don't take anything for granted and I'm not easily intimidated by anything because I'm not supposed to be here technically. And so I see the world totally different now than I did before. I was super shy, believe it or not. Before I would literally walk through the hospital, scrubs, and just walk down, go to the cafeteria. It wasn't very social. After all this happened, I'm just like in everyone's face. I challenge everything. I want everything. If it's unattainable, then I want it. It just gives me a new mindset. Like you said, mind, body, and spirit. It changed everything. It flipped a switch for me to appreciate life and to help others who are maybe, going through some mental health challenges with discovering, why do I have cancer? Why did I get it? What do I do now? Will I be attractive? Will I still be successful? And I want to give people the story that yes, it's not a death sentence. It's not the end of the story. That's one chapter in your book. And that there's so many chapters ahead that you'll look back and read that one and see it as a testimony or a test. So, yeah, I'm just happy to be able to share my story and, to be able to help other women.
Mhm. On some of those smaller things, daily hassles, if you will, that might have been annoying before, having that new perspective, just able to really, just dust those off, focus on the things that are your priorities, such as family, your health, just being a great person out there in the community. And I really admire the way that you're, sharing your perspective. And even from a spiritual, type of perspective here, as we talk about that mind, body, spirit connection, is seeing that you are tied into something larger, everything that's happened in your experience, what you're giving back is part of something so much larger. And I think that's one of the things that people sometimes forget about because we have this multiplying effect, and you make a good impression on somebody, you help somebody out, you brighten their day, they carry that forward to somebody else who carries it forward to somebody else who carries it forward to somebody else. And that's really something, whether or not you're thinking about it at the time or even thinking about it right now as we speak, that's really the way that this works. And, having come out of that when, as you were saying before, being one of the lowest moments, of your life, just really being able to get everything there, and get to a better place. Because we know as well with something like a cancer diagnosis, when mental health starts going, often we're, increasingly anxious, feeling extremely depressed, that's going to be the thing that compromises your immune system further. And then you get sicker, even longer, more intense symptoms, compromises that recovery. So it's very difficult to be able to get into that place. So I'm wondering, are there any things as you were going along? I know some people have mantras or stories or something that really help focus you. Like, what was it while you were going through this experience that said, you know what, Rita, it's a difficult situation, but I'm going to try to make the best of this. I'm going to continue to carry forward and I'm going to help all these other people. Like, what types of things were going through your mind during those times?
I think it started like I wasn't like always like super religious. My mom's a Christian, super saved. And I remember being upset during the diagnosis and, driving myself to chemotherapy from Forest Park to Naperville every day and just hoping to rush home and lay down before the actual medicine would kick in. And I remember my mom just briefly, she was kind of very thick woman. And I noticed she started to, get thinner. And she said, it's because I'm fasting for your recovery. And, she was just saying, um, I'm going to fast for your health. And I talked to God and this is what I'm going to give up for you to be here. And at that time, I was like, oh, okay, sure, mom, whatever. But I really just believe just my mom praying and saying, and when one or two people come together for anything, it shall happen. And what I tried to do was definitely just stay positive. I also looked into more holistic things. I studied Dr. Seabeed, the electric diet, um, where I studied him probably night from day to night, and his studies revealed that he was able to cure cancer and HIV and diabetes and herpes and syphilis. And I was like, yeah, sure, a man could cure that, right? But everyone still has it. And then as I researched, he actually had proven cases of curing it. Number one person that he cured was Magic Johnson. So he's still here, very healthy, with his diagnosis of the autoimmune deficiency. He had HIV,
He's a
and
zombie at the time.
yeah, and I looked into Dr. Seabee's just overall um, going to Supreme Court, proving and being arrested and winning. And after following his diet of just the electric diet, I was able to learn that cancer can exist in an alkaline state. Um, and so I tried to keep, my body healthy. I tried to eat, healthy, because actually after you do the chemotherapy, even if you want to eat unhealthy foods or drink alcohol, the body kind of rejects it. So it kind of puts you in a safe space where it's like, the chemotherapy blocks your old eating habits. So I try to change my eating habits. Um, I manifest what was going to happen. I'm already healed. Um, I would say that every day. I'm already healed. I'm going to find my husband. I'm going to be successful. I would just speak these things into existence. And as soon as a negative thought would come into my mind, I would definitely try to, just push it away. I always kept pictures of my children in front of me and to show me this is exactly who you're doing it for, what you're doing it for. I didn't play the victim role. I didn't even want anyone to really even know that I had cancer. And so many people look back and they don't even remember me having cancer because I didn't accept the diagnosis. Okay, you want me to show up here and do the treatment? And that sometimes, yes, it was painful. My bones ached and everything, but I stayed alone in those elements, and I didn't really, disclose to anyone what I was going through. And every other week I would do chemotherapy. And then the week that I didn't have to do chemotherapy, I would still try to get out, go to the movies, take my kid places, attend events. Um, and then eventually those treatments, they ended. And I was like, okay, now it's time for me to start the race again. So definitely manifestation, using the power of the tongue. If I'm saying, "Oh my God, I have cancer. Oh, I lost all my hair. I don't have any lashes. No one will ever love me. I'm so ugly." If I said those things would, stay in my head. So I try to just manifest all good things, like abnormal things. Like I want to have $1 million in my bank account. Um, by the end of the year, I want to have this house in this town. I want to be cancer free. And every day I would first, thank God that I was here, just to acknowledge Him while things were going good, not just when they were bad. And then also just manifest, I'm completely healthy. I'm going to regain my strength. I regained everything. And it was just really speaking it into existence. But then I found that that was for myself. And then, if, like I said, if you just sit still and listen to exactly what your assignment is and what the instructions are, I had to to make sure that those things continued. I have to help other people. That's my instructions. That's my assignment. If I continue to help people get what they want or help them achieve things, I'm always going to be blessed and healthy. The minute that I become selfish or forget what my assignment is, I don't know what will happen, but it's so embedded in my spirit that I don't know any other way. So those are some of the things that I went through and some of the things that I used.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And positive talk really does go a very long way. That whole saying, you are what you eat. Well, guess what? You also are what you believe you are. There's this thing called the self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe you could do something, you're going to be much more inclined to put in the effort, make the attempts, take the chances, step outside of your comfort zone than if you believe that you can't. Well, why would you put in all that effort? And that negative self-talk really will get you down. If dealing with something, like the diagnosis you shared or, a difficult time overcome whatever it is that's going on in your life, if you keep believing it's never going to get better, it's hopeless, why even put forth the effort, it's going to continue tearing you down. And admittedly, when it comes to that negative self-talk, that's just about as poisonous as anything else. So having some optimism there
That
goes a long way.
Hey, I completely agree with what you're saying, Dr. Matt. Like that's in our head every day, like all these negative thoughts and know that they're supposed to be there to deter you from what your overall goal is and you can ignore them step by step. It won't become a part of what your story is supposed to be. I know a lot of times I just thought maybe, I was in the initial beginning of it, I was just looking at wills and I wanted, I tripled, no, I actually 5 times my salary to make sure that it would go to the twins. But at that time, like everybody wasn't old enough, so it would go to my mother. I had everything all planned out to not be here. And then I started thinking, I'm going to be here a long time. I'm going to be here a long time. So I'm going to work with what I have and to get stronger. I'm not going to be defeated. I also use music as therapy, different theta um, sequences and frequencies, which I felt really helped with healing. Music therapy is amazing. I mean, you see the study of the farmer who actually played, I think it was classical music to his crops, and they grew 10 times the
Mhm.
size of the farmer. And I felt like music was definitely a healing tool for me, especially once I started to research the different frequencies
Absolutely.
and species of healing.
Well, it's weaved into the fabric of our existence. I mean, music has been around as long as civilization. And, and what you were speaking to as well is important, finding what works for you. If it's music, if it's some type of experiential activity, if it's reading a book, if it's journaling, whatever those activities are that you find, engaging in that, continually trying to have some hope toward moving forward. And that's the other part too, even when, and if we have a prognosis that is something grim and, the inevitable is before us, the other part is trying to have as positive of a mindset and going through up into that point because, okay, that time is going to be coming, but why ruin every moment up until then when you can maximize all that time? And, you're certainly somebody who's maximized the time. And speaking of maximizing time, I know we don't have too much longer, with our time here together today. I'd definitely love to have you back again in the future if you'd be willing to do so, but want to take a few moments to talk about where you're at today. So, as I was saying, I was reading that log list up of LinkedIn. You're not boasting at all whatsoever. You've done all these things, which are amazing, and you should be putting it out there because it's inspiring other people and also, allowing others to have the opportunity to come meet you and the wonderful work you do, the wonderful work your staff does, and so on. But today, you've got the Brazilian Spa Suites out here in Bolingbrook, Illinois. You've also got the International Spa Bosses, where you're connecting a lot of professionals, in different holistic areas of the mind, body, spirit connection. Also doing cryo doctors. I saw cryo doctors take Manhattan, which was a really exciting, endeavor that you had here last year. So why don't you hear a little bit about that? What do you got going on?
Yeah, so yeah, that's the exciting part that it makes me super happy. So yes, we're at our 4th year at the Brazilian Spa Suites in Bolingbrook. We're fully staffed and we're doing very well. Um, we have a lot of great individuals that do, massage and hair and again cryotherapy. Again, it's so funny that again the cancer diagnosis led me to the cryotherapy because of the surgery. I had a lot of scar tissue, and I stumbled upon a guy who was doing actual targeted cryotherapy where you don't have to go into the chamber. You can actually just use the device. He came to Chicago. He cryoed the area where I had the scar tissue, and within a 24-hour period, the scar tissue was soft again and it felt rejuvenated. And I was completely sold. I purchased the machine. I started helping other people who have like back pain, knee pain, sciatica, who wanted to use it aesthetically to look younger, to freeze fat, and again for scar tissue. After doing so many of those, I ended up partnering with the manufacturer to have exclusivity to sell the device and launch other cryotherapy businesses. So I was able to, and as of currently right now, even just yesterday, um, launch cryo doctors in Vermont, uh, Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, Milton, Wisconsin. Brookside, Wisconsin, Paloma, Florida, uh, Italy, and Rio de Janeiro, and Sao Paulo, Brazil. And there's some places I'm missing, but we've launched cryo doctors in all those areas. And again, now the lashes are on the back burner because now this has taken over, but it's still a stem from just the overall cancer diagnosis. So the cryo doctors is taking over. That's my main focus. We're launching other people's business and helping people with pain management and beauty solutions. That being said, like you spoke about the international spa bosses, we have a group with now over 630 members who are from all over the world who either own a spa or some type of business. We actually changed it to international spa and business bosses because now we have realtors in there. We have people from all over because uh, the little nuggets and the little gems that I drop can help all businesses. Just the baseline of it. From that, then I was able to join one of Inner Circle to help with um, keynote speaking because I was always like, behind the scenes. I never really said much. But now in this day of age where we have to go live and be present in our business and have several meetings and do podcasts, like this with you, Dr. Matt, I joined a Inner Circle with Jacob Salem, who is he does all the systems for Les Brown. So myself and one of my business partners, Dr. Reese, we're in this to learn how to just speak. And, I'm getting all of these keynote speaking events. I have to fly to Dallas at the beginning of March. I'm going to speak on cryotherapy and how to make money. We have a 7-figure plan on how to grow your cryotherapy business. So that's a paid keynote. It just led into this whole different thing at the end of the year into this year where my whole focus has completely changed. I even received an award here for my first 5-figure presented to Dr. Rita Rios for her first 5-figure voice award. So when I went to New York, it was, all paid. And so the key is I was doing everything for free, yay. But ultimately, if you have some value, you have to put a price tag on that. So yeah,
I'm gonna need
that's
to
what
sign up for those lessons there. I do a lot of this stuff for free still.
so we have to, it's okay to charge here and there. And if you have some value, you'll be paid for it. You won't even have to ask. So yeah, I've been doing keynote speaking and managing our international spa group. And then we have an award ceremony coming in April where we're going to spotlight some of those individuals, including yourself. So I'm just excited to just be a part of so much. I remember I was just telling my daughter, um, believe it or not, even as I worked and I was a parent, when people said they had errands to run and things to do, I never said those things. So I always said to myself, what kind of errands would they have? And so now I see, okay, I'm in 4 meetings. I have to go to the UPS. I have to create this website. I have to set up this funnel and then still work the hospital and pick my kids up. Like, you know what? Now I get it.
It doesn't
Um,
stop. It does not stop.
my brain is now open and receptive to receiving everything that I'm supposed to do and execute them. So I'm learning time management and family work management because I'll go to the movies with the family. We're sitting there. We have, we're at the movie theater that has the food. We're enjoying ourselves. And I'm still responding to emails. I'm texting people because I don't want to lose opportunity. So I'm still struggling with trying to balance that work life thing. But those are the actual projects that I have going. And I'm so excited about it. And I'm able to delegate and build a team, which is what I wasn't able to do before, which is why I probably wasn't as successful early on because I tried to do everything myself. So now we have virtual assistants in the Philippines and in Zimbabwe that are helping us, you know, get keynote speaking events and to also canvas for the awards and do ticket sales and even follow up from the spa for how the massage went and to use our patient engine to recruit new people to come in. So yeah, everything is just like unreal for me right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it. I'm kind of operating on pure will. So my next focus is me physically. I need to get in shape. I need to work out. That part is neglected, especially when you have all these great things going on. There's always one thing that's neglected, and that would be working out and eating right. So I eat like I'm still working in the emergency room, and the ambulance are coming through the ambulance bay, and we're scooping up our Chinese food really quick within a 3-second period, not digesting it, getting super fat. So that's my focus so far right now. Me, finally.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go. I mean, and in self-care is something it really does need to be
Always.
intentional and consistent. So when it's not, it's the first thing to go by the wayside when you need it most. But and even piggybacking on something you said a few moments ago, and that seeing the success now, and earlier on, it wasn't as successful as I would have hoped to been, or I could have been a millionaire years ago if I was able to, believe that time and place really is everything here. Like the Beatles said, there's nowhere you can be that isn't where you're meant to be. It's easy. All you need is love. It's so true, just being in the time and place and embracing it and recognizing the only moment is now. And whether or not you do have a diagnosis, the truth is that things happen to people, unexpected tragedies can occur. So really the only way to live life, is to continue putting in the effort. It was somebody, I think, I heard this little quote, and I'm probably going to get it wrong, but it was talking about being a human being versus a human doing, doing all these different things versus just, being there, being present, being mindful, being somebody who's taking care of yourself, and really in trying to frame things. And I know you've got a lot of different titles you do. Am I proud to be Dr. Matt Gloviak? Yeah, it sounds cool being doctor, Professor Matt, these types of things, recognizing what I give to the community. But when it comes down to it, what's my number one priority role in life? Father, husband, son,
Yeah.
these types of things. Because, family, and no family is perfect, no individual is perfect. I'm far from perfect, but just the
Mhm.
value that you get in nurturing those relationships while you're doing everything else, but also trusting in yourself that things will come together as they should. And if they don't, learning different lessons along the way and perhaps having to pivot. I know here as we're winding down, we only have a few more moments left here. So I wanted to see from what we discussed, or even, otherwise it can come out of left field. I'm wondering, what is something you would like the viewers to leave with after us having met here today? Like, what if you have a tip or two, just something
Um,
that you would like to leave everybody with here today?
so I definitely want to tell people, um, if you are ever faced with something, just really sit and analyze it, pray on it. There is always an answer to it. It may not be the answer that we want, but there is also always an answer to it. And it's so crazy because I remember my dad listening to, remember Zig Ziglar?
I do.
There's a quote from him just recently that I've been using a lot in some of my keynote speaking. And it says, "You will get all you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want."
That's true.
And so that's my goal. Sometimes you may feel like you're being used, but ultimately, I see the positioning and why I was placed in certain people's lives at certain times. And maybe I didn't get anything back, but I know that in the end, that I'm going to get, blessed to the fullest because I've helped other people. Before I had great secrets and great tactics to make money, and I would keep it to myself. But overall, just knowing if you will get all you want in life if you help enough people get what they want. So that's my model. That's what I do. And yeah, just remember that. Don't be selfish with your information. Don't be selfish with your time, and help others. And you're going to see it come back tenfold to you where it would almost scare you.
Well, absolutely. And some of the core conditions to which we're striving are that of a sense of belonging, community, task mastery, being loved, and so on. So there's so much fulfillment to maximize those interpersonal relationships. And it was certainly, throughout life, you do have people who take advantage of you, use you, and so on. But even with those relationships, learning from it, at the very least, learning what not to do to other people, learning to have stronger boundaries, those different types of things. But again, every interaction that you have throughout life, make the most positive thing that you possibly can out of it and continue moving forward. That's really the only way. Well, as we wrap up here, Dr. Ian, again, thank you so much for your time here today. It was such a pleasure having this opportunity to speak with you, have you share your story, share a little bit of what you're doing in terms of your other ventures and so on. What's the best way for viewers to be able to contact you?
Sure. So I can be found on Instagram under at Dr. Rita Rios, also at Brazilian Lash Doctor, doctor spelled out. Um, for our Brazilian Spa Suites, we're located at 1087 South Weber Road in Bolingbrook, Illinois. We have appointments. Valentine's Day is coming up, Dr. Matt. We have
There we go.
couples,
Yes. Great
couple.
place too. I've been there before. I can speak from experience. It's amazing
Yeah,
spot.
thank you. If you want to, book an appointment at any time, you can book at 1-844-290-0200. And I can also be found on Facebook, Dr. Rita Rios. So yeah, you can also Google me and see some of the things that we have going on with the cryo doctors. You can also look at cryo doctors. We have so many good things in store for this year. I'm super excited about. So yeah. Those are my handles, they say. And that's the number to reach us or reach me if you need business advice, if you want to join one of our mentor groups, or just be a part of our community.
Excellent. Thank you so much again. And your name I could never forget, even from the moment I met you. Dr. Rita Rios. That name always stands out to me. Dr. Rita Rios, you can find all over. But thank you so much again for your time. I look forward to more opportunities here in the future, and I look forward to making it to Brazilian Spa Suites here soon. Wishing you and everybody else an absolutely wonderful day and rest of the week. Stay well and take care of one another. Goodbye now.
Thank you.